Good morning, Kenya. We are talking about the resilience of communities in the face of disasters. What exactly can we do? Are we completely helpless? And those are some of the things that we are exploring here. Before the break, Julius, you wanted to interject on the issue of the economic implications of disasters.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, David. I think he introduced a very interesting topic, what he is calling disaster risk reduction. In short, we call it DRR. And I think I had told you that DRR is everybody's business. Actually, it's a cross-cutting issue. It is a poverty issue. It is a development issue. And unless we see it that way, we may not move far. What you find has been happening in the past is most of us have been reacting to disasters, responding, waiting to respond. But what we need to do is to carry out DRR, disaster risk reduction. Disaster risk reduction means you do activities before the disaster occurs. You do prevention. You do preparedness. You do mitigation. You don't wait for the disaster to occur so that then you start reacting. This is what will now save us a lot of money. But to do this then, of course, there needs to be some commitment. As he has said, then we need these departments, the DRR units, to be created in each and everywhere. And let me tell you why there is no visibility of DRR. Because of that cross-cutting nature. You know, it's not seen, it's not there, it's not a ministry, it's not, so even giving it fund is not easy. And I think it's the high time now we talk with the government, we tell them no. Like now we have the county governments. Each and every county government must have a disaster risk reduction unit or department that is taking care of the county problems, the emergencies that may arise there, the flooding that may occur there, the drought, the other emergencies, disease emergencies, and so on. So these are things that really we need to talk to the county governments. We need to decentralize so that this country can save a lot of resources if we adopt the disaster risk reduction approach rather than response.
I want to take us back to 1998, August 7th, and we have the bomb blast in Nairobi. Ambassador Bushnell and JJ Kamotho are in the same office around at Cooperative House, right? And JJ Kamotho rushes to the window to confirm what exactly happened down there, while Ambassador Bushnell seeks cover under her table. I mean, that it is also in the same year, I think in 1997, 1998, when we lost a member of parliament to floods. And so I think, from my view, back then we were doing so badly in terms of resilience. I mean, if we had two top people in society getting hurt because of not being resilient, okay, of course, one losing his life and the other one got hurt in the bomb blast, then it means the community was doing so badly. I don't want to stick so much around that, but how exactly are we doing currently? From your evaluation across East Africa, how are the people doing in terms of being resilient to such problems? In Kenya now, terrorism is a very real issue. It's a real threat. Yeah. But how resilient are our people?
I think you're right. If we look at the history itself, we have made some appreciable steps forward because right now I think we have seen the government move in to fund some of the institutions that are supposed to take care of disasters. A case in hand is if you look at the National Disaster Operations Center, despite that as a response unit, it did more with the response. At least they are not. It's not like before. We have seen some at least improvement through time. If you look at our Vision 2030. Again, you find disaster management is brought in board. You find the government is providing resources for the Met service to improve the network, the observational network. All this is accelerated towards, improving the early warning for disasters, improving the resilience of the people. So I would say there has been some kind of progress at the national level. At the regional level, of course, we have also initiated programs. It has been a kind of a go-around before. When a steamer capsizes in Zanzibar,
yes, it's about Zanzibar,
Tanzania and all that. When bomb blast comes in Kenya, it's Kenya and Kenya. But I think this is what we are trying to address now at the regional level, that we should have policies and strategies.
When we had, by the way, when we had that building collapse in Dar es Salaam,
yes,
and the boat capsized recently, did we have other East African community partners coming to help Tanzania?
Not exactly, but of course what I know is that we are heading there. We had, for example, the case of the boat, the South Africans were the first to come, and of course the rest of our team or military came later.
Yes.
But of course, what we are trying out is to have a very, tangible strategies and programs that are put in place, such that we can, of course, be able to corroborate and help one another from this. Of course, you have to understand that regionally, each country has its own sovereign, and therefore we only look at areas whereby we are not interfering in the countries, whatever. Disasters have been a problem because if I may ask you what is a disaster here in Kenya or what defines a disaster, maybe you do not have an answer. And the disaster emergencies are normally defined by the president. He's the one who declares as a disaster. By that time, perhaps things have gone long. So we need now to come up with the mechanisms of really living. This way we go back to what we are saying, having institutions that have the mandate to do this. We don't have to wait for the president to declare a disaster.
Exactly.
We need an institution that has the legal basis, that has the mandate to deal with this
and
problems.
which is also professionally
and it's
endowed.
professionally, of course, that's what we need. And these are some of the things that we need to address regionally.
I think my concern is the culture that disasters are an act of God, so they cannot be prevented. So we just have to accept it. We have to sit back and just say it's okay, it has taken place. And you go to a place like Zanzibar, you have that kind of culture whereby people know this kind of ferry is overloaded, but they still just go in and board it. And we've seen that even here in Kenya. Matatus are maximum capacity, but people just keep on overloading. And it's a problem simply because there's that idea that my life is not that precious as such. We have not put an emphasis on life. And one of the things which has been a Benja suggestion is that, do we have to put in legislation whereby we can charge people with negligence if they are in a position to prevent that disaster but they don't take measures? For example, in schools, we've been having a problem with fires. No headmaster has been taken to court over negligence.
But in your view,
parents
you
are having
think
the challenge. So I think one of the things is, as we talk about this issue of culture change, because it's an issue of culture, most of this kind of, there are disasters which you cannot anticipate, but there are others which are within range which you can be able to prevent, like something like the fires in schools. We have talked about measures in terms of how to build the dormitories, the height of the windows so that the children can go out, not having grills, using fire-resistant paint.
Again,
these are issues which
theft is also a disaster.
No, okay, fine. Look at it from that perspective, but realize that there is a lot we can learn and we could be able to put in place right from Kianguli and the Bombolulu girls up to now. We cannot have, I believe that at this level, in 2013, no life should be lost because of negligence.
School fires.
School fires. We should close that chapter, you see. And the same thing with issues, for example, like you talk about bomb blasts. How many people in Kenya have been sensitized about grenade explosions? What to do when a grenade? What happens in a grenade explosion in Kenya? People rush towards the scene.
Run to the venue to
people
see
rush
what's
to
happening.
see. People rush there to take photos to upload on Facebook. Now, if another by bad luck, another one is just waiting to explode.
Citizen journalism. Man.
So you realize that we have a challenge in terms of our culture towards disasters, and it's simply because we have not inculcated in ourselves. If you go to a place like Japan, young children from the ages of 3 are taught in schools what to do if an earthquake takes place, what to do if a tsunami takes place. They know how to run to safe grounds, to safe areas, to shelters. Here in Kenya, even you have not yet, very few schools are now implementing first aid as part of their curricula. We don't have that. So you realize that it will require not only just an institutional approach in terms of creating the National Disaster Management Authority, but also we need an integrated approach from churches, from communities.
And actually,
schools.
that's one of the things that I would really like us to explore, because Resilience, like you said, should be a culture. But looking at the structure of our society, what are the real opportunities, the practical opportunities that we have to inculcate this culture?
I think it has to start.
You've mentioned schools, which I think is...
Yeah, we need to start from schools are one of the things because you have an institutional approach there. Children have to be taught about first aid, people have to be taught about basic issues in terms of prevention. Another thing also we have to look at is through our social networks, friends, relatives. I mean, you go to your friend's place and you see them just where they have put their gas is a place whereby if there's any kind of explosion, they will not be able to get out.
The gas is actually on the way.
Yes, the gas is actually on the way. Look at how we handle our electrical gadgets. You know, we overload sockets. You have the DVD there, you have your computer there, you have your fridge there. You see, look at how we handle our just basically our home appliances, you know. And we've got to, there have been cases even of children drowning in swimming pools. There are no attendants there, you see. So you realize that it is not only, we have to do this, we have to disseminate this message through friends, social networks. If you see your friend doing something which is not right, you should be able to correct that. And also we should have a major public awareness program that can be able to keep on sensitizing the society. Like right now we are talking about floods. It should be, we should have awareness programs about issues concerning typhoid, cholera. We should have issues concerning traffic alerts. Not talking about we are stuck on Nyayo Stadium. We should look at how is the city doing it. And I think I liked what the governor of Nairobi, Kidero, Dr. Evans Kidero did one time, I think last week when he went and saw a building that is on the verge of collapsing. And he called on the contractor to demolish it because that is a disaster waiting to happen. And we see that. You walk and see trees just about to fall on power lines. Where is Kenya Power and Lightning doing? What is that doing? So these are the issues we need to talk about.
Okay. It's crazy. You mentioned about, you talked about education.
Yes.
Interesting. I don't know who you expect or who you want to propose should be doing the education bit, but I look at the media as a very significant educator. How well do you think the media has taken this role, being part of the media?
I think one of the things which pushed us towards the formation of the Disaster Risk Reduction Network for African Journalists is we realized that most of us as journalists, we don't look at how do we prevent this disaster, but we go and ask how many people have died. That is our scoop. That is our big story. That is the headline. But we don't go back and look at what can we do. And I think I liked one of the journalists in Nation did a very interesting story 6 months before the fire that took place in Sinai. I think that is a marvelous work, and we need to encourage more journalists to take that opportunity. And of course, we need a lot of capacity building for journalists, editors, sub-editors, producers to know how can we handle the disaster story. Because when you're breaking that story, it requires a lot of preparation in terms of groundwork, facts, details, working with people like Julius who have the facts. And also, in this opportunity, we need to talk to the scientists and technical experts to be open to media, to be open to giving interviews, to be open to be giving news bits, simply because we cannot be waiting as journalists to break the story and then a scientist telling us, I need to confirm facts. Because the news is a very fast business. So these are some of the issues we're trying to organize and trying to say that we're trying to open up networking opportunities and also trying to tell journalists that don't just concentrate on the bomb blast that has taken place. Follow up these patients. Do they have the right care in Kenyatta National Hospital? How is the burn unit at the National Hospital going on?
Now, my director says we are running out of time. Very quickly, really quickly, I want us to just look at Mozambique and Madagascar. They had serious floods from the beginning of the year until I think end of February. Do we have any significant lessons that our communities, not our government this time, our communities can learn and implement in their own little ways?
I think Julius.
Yeah, well, I think there has been a lot of learning or lessons learned from the past. The case of Mozambique, I think we have used it extensively to train and to show people really how they can respond to some of these disasters. And as he said, of course, one of the key priority in disaster risk reduction is community awareness. And of course, we are coming up with training in schools we have started developing curriculums as low as primary school curriculums. And we would like this to be accelerated up. Of course, like in Kenya now, we have many schools which are taking up a lot of training and awareness program. So we are using these as cases which are supposed to help us to be more resilient to disasters. I believe also in, I've not been to Mozambique, but I have heard that they have also, they used the year 2000 floods as a wake-up call. They have developed a lot of mechanisms, a lot of very early warning system for floods, whereby whenever the forecast come out, it's taken seriously. The community knows what to do. They have to move to the high ground. They have to stockpile their resources in case the flooding occurs and so on.
Basically, so having faith in the agencies put by the government.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sparing time to be with us and for your insights on disaster risk reduction. Folks, with that, we come to the end of Good Morning Kenya today. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with, of course, discussing various issues that matter to you as usual. Thank you very much on behalf of the production team, the technical team that ensured that we come to you in the best way possible. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Keep watching KBC Channel 1. I'm sure we did not even touch an eighth or a quarter of issues on disaster risk reduction. And these are conversations that you must keep going on in your locality. Thank you very much. God bless. Have a great day.